Hi, my name's Ryan, and I'm the MOVIEPASStor. What it means to be a MOVIEPASStor is that I have a little card. It's called a Movie Pass, and it lets me see movies without paying a ticket price. I also have another card. It's called an ordination certificate, and it says I can perform weddings and funerals. So I decided to put my two cards together and watch 4 weddings and a funeral and talk theologically about it. 4 Weddings and a Funeral is a older romantic comedy. Neither my wife nor I had gotten a chance to see it. So when we went to have a little date night in isolation inside our own homes, we decided to finally knock that one off the bucket list. I don't get around to a lot of rom-coms. It's not where I immediately gravitate. So I want to see the classics. Other stuff references it. And we watched 4 Weddings and a Funeral. So what does 4 Weddings and a Funeral have to teach us about God, about ministry, about the way we engage with the deepest truths of our lives in society? That's an interesting question. Unsurprisingly, 4 Weddings and a Funeral is about weddings and funerals and some people falling in love. It's a story that sets your classic romantic comedy formula, and the romantic comedy is one of the most formulaic genres out there, sets it within the context of a series of weddings and a funeral. Well, that's of course interesting for me as a pastor. That's some of the things I do at my job that make me most visible. For many people who may never darken the door of a church on a Sunday morning, you are very, very likely to darken the door of a church and interact with a pastor or a priest of some kind for a wedding or a funeral. So as a person who presides over weddings and funerals, I have some opinions about them, about what they're for, about what they do, about how to make a good one versus a bad one. And some of the aspects of that occurred in this movie really spoke to me. I'm a big Rowan Atkinson fan, of course, and he has a lot of material about the Church of England that is largely underappreciated or goes over heads here stateside. But he had a great scene talking about your awfully wedded wife and acting as the bumbling, nervous new vicar. There's some good stuff in there, kind of joking about the church and its relationship to our lives, especially for a cast of characters that don't seem to have much use for the church outside of weddings and funerals. And in the funeral was the real climax of the movie emotionally, where you had the reading of that W.H. Auden poem, Stop All the Clocks, and it really causes the audience to enter into the emotionality of 2 really side characters. So what's being said? What's going on with all of this talk about weddings and funerals? Why are they showing us 4 weddings and really, frankly, 4 pretty similar weddings? I mean, all of the weddings in the film are church weddings. You didn't have one wedding on the beach and one wedding that was a Mexican wedding or something. They were all kind of English, Church of England, standard weddings. We didn't go all across the map. What's being said about these weddings? Well, I would argue that, at least what I saw there in weddings and funerals and things I perform, things I do, is that these things are important. These things matter to people. The ways we cross thresholds in our lives and mark the hours and make declarations of important things in community, they stick with us. And Hugh Grant's bumbling character, he's kind of always the bridesmaid, never the bride, but male, a theme which I would argue was done better at My Best Friend's Wedding. But and some others, 27 Dresses. It gets done a lot, is my point. Anyway, he's affected by seeing all of these wonderful weddings and all of these couples in love, and when am I going to get something like that? This matters. There's something, the big $10 sociology word is Durkheimian effervescence, right? There's something spiritual. There's something that makes my heart go all butterfliesy when I get into a funeral or into a wedding and it's done well and it matters and we need to preserve this. And and whatever else we're doing with our time, these are worth talking about and appreciating and creating good art with. I certainly resonate with that idea, but of course I'm biased. Interesting then, very interesting that at the end of the film, we undo most of that. And we find that our protagonists are not going to participate in a wedding. We've now seen 4 weddings. The third wedding was for our supporting actress. The final wedding was for our supporting actor, our lead actor and lead actress. And neither of those weddings really worked out, despite being a motive and useful for us as a narrative vehicle that carried us through the story. And now she doesn't even notice that it's raining, and they just want to kind of be together and not mark it ever. This isn't a movie review channel. This isn't a movie review channel. I don't review movies on YouTube. I don't analyze them for content and tell you whether as a Christian you should like them or not. But that just seems deeply unsatisfying to me. And to many of the people I speak to about this movie, even the ones that love it, they will point to, oh, that really funny wedding scene at the second wedding, or oh, that really wonderful poem at the funeral. It almost seems like that end, the conclusion where the lovers get back together, was the weakest part. And I might even argue that the movie would be better without it. The movie would be better if just at the end he married the other woman and we saw Andie MacDowell's face just looking sad, and it was curtain, and we as an audience were left to deal with those emotions, because that would have been heart-wrenching, but heart-wrenching is cool in art, right? That's sometimes a neat thing we do. That's how Annie Hall ended. And instead, what we got was a contradiction. We got our characters living a particular theme or a particular statement, a statement that says, we don't really need these arcane, old-fashioned institutions and rituals. These are dried up and they're not a part of our love. While we as the audience are like, we have just watched a bunch of weddings and funerals, and they've interested us, and they've mattered to us, and they've seemed important to us up till now. And even gay couples get inside churches and do important things there. This isn't old and dried up. This is now, and this is real, and this is live. And so what I'm feeling contradicts what the characters are doing, which just clashes. But of course, that clash had to be intentional. So maybe I am reading something wrong. Maybe there's something beautiful in that conflict. Maybe something's being challenged in me and I'm just too biased to see it. I want to know what you see. What is it about 4 weddings and a funeral that resonates with so many people that's made it a classic of romantic comedy history? Is it just all the other stuff and the rain scene is just weak, or is there something about the rain scene that's brilliant? And what is the importance of these rituals? Do you mark your time with rituals? I hope you'll hit me in the comments. Thank you, and I'll see you next time on MOVIEPASStor.
And when it seems